Wink News begins with breaking news.
With a heavy heart and shaking hands, a man pays tribute to his sister-in-law, a mother of 7 killed in the bank massacre in Sebring. We have live team coverage.
Also breaking at 5, Florida's new Secretary of State quits after a picture from his past is made public.
And a Wink News investigation forces change. The state just announced it'll suspend the use of chemical weed killers in our lakes and waterways.
Wink News, the Weather Authority.
Well, this Thursday started with heavy rain in southwest Florida, but we're done now. Look at where the showers and thunderstorms are, well to the south of southwest Florida. So I expect some clouds, but dry weather this evening, overnight tonight, and again tomorrow. Next up, now that the rain has ended, it's going to get cool. We will start off near 55 degrees early in the morning. It's about a 15-degree temperature drop from this morning, and I've got some cool afternoons to tell you about when I come back.
When something like this happens, it's like we've been infected with a mass shooting, like everybody else.
Coming to grips with the tragedy that happened in their tight-knit community.
Highlands County is a small town. Everybody knows everybody.
Horror unfolded inside this Sebring bank as 5 women lose their lives at the hands of a 21-year-old man with a gun.
Zephan Allen Zaver knowingly and intentionally took the lives of 5 of our fellow community members. Our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, and our co-workers.
Neighbors and law enforcement rally around the families whose loved ones aren't ever coming home.
It's a time for us to come together. It's a time for us to heal.
4 of the women murdered were employees at the bank. 1 was a customer.
We learned today a 6th person was inside that bank when the shooting started, but was able to run out the back door and survived. Investigators say they're still working to figure out why this man, 21-year-old Zephan Zaver, pulled the trigger. Wink News has extensive team coverage tonight. Reporter Brooke Schaefer is live at the bank where a memorial is growing. But we begin with reporter Taylor Petras, who spent the entire day at the scene yesterday. Taylor, this is obviously hard on the entire community. We even heard the police chief break down during that press conference.
Yeah, Chris, this tragedy having an impact on even Sebring's bravest public servants. The police chief held back tears and we learned more about what happened inside that bank where 5 women were gunned down. Below the shining sun in Sebring Thursday sits a painful reminder of a senseless shooting.
Next thing you know, we find out 5 people are dead.
5 women murdered in broad daylight inside the SunTrust Bank. 4 of them worked there and another just stopped in for an errand, leaving the small community in disbelief.
I would talk to the bank tellers there. They were really nice. Everyone in this town's pretty nice. It's a very small town. Everyone knows each other.
New details from law enforcement say the women were found lying face down with gunshot wounds to the back of their heads.
Unfortunately, all victims had succumbed to their injuries inside the bank.
The gunman, 21-year-old Zephan Zaver, locked the doors and called 911. After breaching the door, deputies took Zaver into custody nearly 2 hours after the killings. They say he had a 9mm handgun and a bulletproof vest. Law enforcement in the state attorney's office now vow for justice for the victims and their families.
They are hurting today in an unbelievable way, and we want to be there for them to make sure that with the terrible thing that they've been through, that this next step, the criminal justice process, goes as smoothly as possible.
While the community stands behind them in support.
I think the community is really strong. It's a small community, but it's a small town, so we have to be strong.
And investigators say the attack does appear to be random and there is no known connection between the suspect and the victims or the bank. Wink News reporter Brooke Schaefer is live near the bank right now where a memorial is starting to grow. And Brooke, you talked to a man who put down 5 roses there for the 5 women who were killed in this shooting. Pretty emotional and heartbreaking moment there.
Absolutely a heartbreaking moment as people stopped by the bank to see the damage still left behind. About an hour or so ago, we actually even saw a mom with her 3 young kids. They stopped by the bank to drop off some flowers. It seems like everyone today really trying to keep this day about those 5 women who were shot and killed. We know 3 of their names at this point: 55-year-old Marisol Lopez, 65-year-old Cynthia Watson, and Ana Pinon Williams, a mom to 7 children.
We are determined to let Anna's memory be marked by the life she lived, the people she loved, and the difference she made. She accepted others where they were in life. Loving came easy for her. Loving her was easy. Living without her will be hard.
And I actually spoke with a man who stopped by earlier today. He dropped off 5 pink roses for those 5 victims. He called yesterday's shooting unbelievable. Live in Sebring, I'm Brooke Schaefer, Wink News Now.
All right, so many difficult moments there today. 3 other mass shootings happened in Florida over the past year. In November, a gunman opened fire inside a Tallahassee yoga studio. 2 people died, 5 others were hurt. In August, another gunman started shooting at a Jacksonville video game tournament. Investigators say he was competing in the Madden NFL 19 contest. 2 people died, 10 others were injured. And we all remember Parkland. 17 people died, 17 others were injured when a gunman went inside Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School and started shooting. That happened on February 14th last year. The gun debate is far from over. Wink News digs deeper into a bill that's introduced that would reverse all of the rules put in place after the Parkland shooting. That's all new at 5:30.
Breaking right now at 5, the newly appointed Secretary of State is out of a job. Michael Erdahl resigned just hours ago. The Tallahassee Democrat newspaper says this happened after pictures surfaced of Erdahl posing as a Hurricane Katrina victim in blackface. It was part of his costume at a private Halloween party 14 years ago. The governor's office accepted the resignation.
Also breaking at 5, the Canterbury basketball coach is out. The school released a statement saying they were going in a different direction with the boys' basketball program. They say they are grateful to Darren Wallace for his service. He posted this tweet saying he will cherish the memories forever.
A victory for patients. NCH reversed its doctor policy after backlash from the community. Patients are praising the move today, and they're excited to stick with their own doctors. Wink News reporter Curtis Jennings live outside the hospital in Naples. Curtis, you spoke with a doctor and a patient today. What are they saying?
Well, pretty much everyone that I spoke with today about this hospital and its controversial admissions policy are happy it's gone. The policy forced patients to get care by NCH doctors instead of their own primary care physicians. Now, some NCH doctors say it's been a grueling past 3 months and it felt like they were walking on eggshells with management. Now that Alan Weiss and Kevin Cooper resigned, NCH leaders say they will do a nationwide search for their next chief executive officer. And patients say they're glad their voices played a big part in the overall decision.
Democracy won. Every organization, whether it's nonprofit or profit or in the healthcare business, has to listen to its customers, its clients, and in this case, its patients.
And some patients went on to say that they don't care how long this process takes to find a new CEO, as long as they bring in the right person for the job. Reporting live in Naples, Curtis Jennings, Wink News Now.
All right, thank you, Curtis. A doctor will mentally evaluate the man accused of killing a Fort Myers police officer. A Lee County Circuit Court appointed experts to determine if Wisner Desmarais is mentally competent to stand trial. Police say Desmarais shot Officer Adam Jobbers Miller in the head last July. Jobbers Miller died a week later at the hospital. New details about a man who drove into a building in Bokeelia. We first told you about this on Monday. Officials say 71-year-old Dennis Hartigan was speeding down Stringfellow Road when he swerved off the street and into a restaurant. Officials say Hartigan suffered a medical episode while driving and was airlifted to the hospital. The restaurant was closed and no one else was hurt. The fire department says the building is now unsafe.
It's never too late to prepare for the next storm, and the families in this neighborhood remember these images all too well. Look at all of the water here. After Hurricane Irma, homeowners in Island Park dealt with high water for days. And now Lee County wants to come up with a plan to prevent this. Wink News reporter Brea Hollingsworth is live in Island Park tonight. Brea, leaders already have an idea of some possible solutions. What are they?
Yeah, they do. The county is already hard at work removing sediment from the 10 Mile Canal, and it's just one of the many areas that they hope to prevent flooding here in Island Park.
We ended up with more stormwater from Irma, which brought it all the way up to Park Road.
Neighbors in Island Park remember when their homes were surrounded by water after Hurricane Irma hit.
The water was about my waist. Come up to my waist.
Now the county is holding meetings to discuss flood mitigation, and they're already working on projects to prevent flooding. The U.S. Department of Agriculture is helping pay the bill.
Lee County had the ability to receive some federal funding to remove silt that was deposited during Hurricane Irma. That was from the Natural Resources Conservation Service. And so what we did is remove sediment in 2 locations in 10 Mile, one at the mouth where it meets Mula Creek and the other near US 41.
The 10 Mile Canal project started in October. Lee County hopes this series of meetings will give them a clearer idea of which solutions will work best.
It gives an opportunity for the public to see some of the work that we've done so far in response to the flooding, but also what we have planned in the near and also distant future in terms of projects.
Neighbors say they're happy something's finally being done to keep the water out of their homes.
It's never too late. We have to resolve it, and by taking action immediately, I see that they're headed in the right direction.
Now, the meeting will be held tonight in South Fort Myers at the Waxahachie Recreation Center, and the county says not to worry if you miss one because there will be 2 more after. In Island Park, Brea Hollingsworth, Wink News Now.
Wink News, the Weather Authority.
Much cooler later tonight. In fact, we'll be waking up to temperatures that are about 15 degrees colder than it was this morning. Then there's a chance for more rain this weekend. I have details coming up.
Dogs running rampant through neighborhoods, but homeowners have the right to capture them if they're worried. Wink News talks to one about the dangers that come with that. All new at 5:30. FWC will suspend aquatic plant herbicide treatment. Wink News has been investigating this practice. We break down the reasoning. All new after the break.